No, it just makes it happy.
Got it. All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
Joe, rolling.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1246, Feb 15, 2024. And may I have some celebratory horns, the
You need the fanfare?
I need fanfare.
All right.
I need fanfare.
All right. If you'll
I
just
see
give
it.
me a
I can
moment.
do it. I see it.
No, you ain't going to do it.
I got it. On this day,
Wow. February 15th.
the first 60 of the calendar year shows up in our beloved state. It was 63 degrees on this day in 1921, and it was 25 below on this day in 1875. And this show is dedicated to Fran Itkoff. Fran is a female. Fran Itkoff, who is 90 years old. This show is dedicated to Fran.
Nice.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Height in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
Wait a minute. Double secret emergency. Shoot.
No pencil?
No, where is Dave Bliss's email? Oh, mother of God. It's terribly important.
It's always,
Is it under your microphone there?
it's at the bottom.
I got
It's always at the
Wait,
bottom.
I got it.
You got it?
But first, I want to tell you why I'm dedicating this show to Fran Itkoff,
Yeah,
who
who's
I
Fran
do
Itkoff?
not know who she is. She's a California woman. She's 90.
Mhm.
And she's been, and this show again will be dedicated up a level from yesterday to the Great Reckoning.
Okay.
When we lose the likes of Fran Itkoff, I submit to you the Great Reckoning is closer than we think. What did I say?
You came close.
Reckoning?
Yep. That's a different deal altogether.
The Great Reckoning.
Yes, it is.
She's 90 years old. She's been fired from her volunteer position, which she's held for 60 years.
No.
A volunteer with the Multiple Sclerosis Society, because she did not understand that she had to refer to people by their preferred pronouns.
You're kidding me.
Wow.
She was fired at the MS Society in California,
Shame on them.
Can you get fired from a volunteer position?
despite previously winning multiple awards from the nonprofit group. Fran Itkoff has been volunteering for the MS Society, a nonprofit support group for multiple sclerosis patients, for 60 years. Although her dedication to the society has been recognized over the years, the group recently forced her to step down after she asked about gender. I was confused. I didn't know what this meant, Itkoff said of her first reaction when she was asked to use pronouns in her email signature. She was asked to refer to herself. Itkoff's husband is a patient with MS. He was running the Long Beach Lakewood MS support group before he died 20 years ago. And Fran kept on volunteering. She took over her husband's position and volunteered for the organization for the next couple of decades until a representative reached out to her recently. The representative, who has not been named, reportedly asked Itkoff to use her pronouns, but she did not understand what that meant.
Boo hiss. I hear you. Joe? Yeah, do you think that Multiple Sclerosis Society will ever have a reckoning of their own and realize what utter jackasses they were for firing this 90-year-old volunteer? Do you think that'll ever happen?
No, but the point you raise is interesting insofar as this has so intertwined itself throughout public and private and profit and nonprofit that there's two ways to go about preventing the Great Reckoning, I suppose. Outfits like the MS Society will have to realize the foolishness of their actions, or what? They'll just be swept along in the Great Reckoning like everyone else. A
She was
90-year-old
born-
woman who gave up her life for the Multiple Sclerosis Society, and she, some failed academy graduate probably said, she's not signing her emails with her correct pronouns. Well, which Fran did not know what that even meant. Fran's a woman.
Born in 1934.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine what she has seen in her lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And to be summarily dismissed like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You would think the head of the MS Society, the nonprofit, would step in and go, wait a second.
I suppose the other way to deal with the reckoning is for, of course, you don't want to deprive MS people of money, but there's always that threat that donors could say, are you out of your mind? And until you rectify this, you're not going to see another nickel from me.
Right.
There could be that, but then you have the MS people suffering. So
Yeah, it's too bad.
It
Yeah,
compounds.
yeah.
It compounds the problem that what in this particular situation, the adherence to political identity trumps suffering patients. Now that's grounds for a reckoning. The fealty that people are paying to this ideological construct is trumping people with MS.
Yeah.
Wow.
Real suffering. Yeah. It would certainly be all right to fire off an email.
Do you know what Lee Finke is? Let's get closer to home. You know who Lee Finke is?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
She, he, it.
She's a first
She's a first, the first trans in...
transgender person to
yeah.
hold. Yeah.
Yeah. She's authored a bill, House File 3386, seeking $1 million of your money to recruit LGBTQ people to live in Minnesota.
Oh my God.
She has a companion author, Emma Greenman, a Democrat from Minneapolis, and in the Senate, the bill is carried by the always reliable Erin May Quaid of Apple Valley. And this would be to help trans people who move here make their transition more smoothly.
See you.
Now, there's a couple of points about this. I don't know if it'll become a bill, but the first observation I have about this is by this rationale, why doesn't someone seek $1 million to recruit left-handed plumbers to move to Minnesota or bagpipers?
That makes as much sense.
There's no thinking here, and there's no common sense, which brings in the second point. If we had a governor with a head on his shoulders, and I'm being very serious, the governor would occasionally walk down to the floor of the House and tap the likes of Lee Finke on the shoulder and say, knock this off. This is ridiculous. You're not taking the taxpayers' money to recruit people to move to Minnesota.
But this has been a main objective of our governor for the past year, is to try to convince people to move to Minnesota.
I have a question. Who do you write the check to?
Well, yeah, that's my question. Is this just an ad campaign, Joe,
No,
or is
no.
this actual doling out dollars?
This is doling out dollars to nonprofits, which we're not short of, that apparently would be in a position that I guess you'd roll in here with the chairs and the couch strapped to the roof of your pickup truck and you'd say, I'm gay and I want to move to Minnesota. And then these nonprofits would have some literature for you.
Is it gay? I thought it was just trans.
Well, the whole LGBTQ, PRM, whatever.
Right. If Sally, who used to be Sam in California, was thinking, or no, that's the wrong analogy. What if Sam, who lives in California, wants to move to Minnesota? He's having a hard time making ends meet. Does he have to get the whole boob job unit cut off, or can he just throw on a dress?
Yeah, that's a good question. Jordy was wondering, will there be somebody to vet them?
Right, exactly.
At least as thoroughly as we vetted the providers of fraud food.
Right. Somebody there to pop the hood, so to speak.
So again, though, if you have it's nonsensical. It's no different than if I would ask for $1 million to recruit the restorers of wooden boats to Minnesota. It makes no sense. But what we don't have is a governor we can count on. We don't have a governor. And again, I don't know how far this will get. Finke's throwing stuff to the wall and hope some of it sticks. But it's too bad we don't have a guy as governor.
No, but
a guy can be a gal, by the way.
Hey, it's bigger than that, because this will be framed by the likes of WALZ and said, look what we're doing for rights for the trans community.
No, he'll love this idea, Joe. Yep. He'll love this idea.
I'm going to take a chance.
Huh.
I'm going to bet he would turn his back on this.
What would
Why
you like
do
to
you
bet?
keep doing that with
You
WALZ?
already owe me $10 from yesterday.
Isn't this the perfect definition of insanity? You expect a different result, yet you going back to the WALZ well?
You're right. It's the definition of insanity. But you keep this up, that plays right into the Great Reckoning, because some taxpayer who hasn't been paying attention is, well, let's see, that's the wake up. I've given up on an awakening. If you haven't awakened to this by now,
you're just not
then
going to.
you'll be subject to the reckoning. And you'll wake up one day and not have a 5 cents in your pocket, and you'll realize that some of your money went to lure LGBTQ people from other states to live in Minnesota. There being no reason for that, except Finke's theatricality.
I
probably zoomed forward on a skateboard to deliver this bill.
I love your reckoning thing, Such. You know what? The tornado's coming right down your driveway.
Yep.
Too late to go to the basement.
Yep.
You're screwed.
Now, in addition, we have another proposal. Representative Mary Clardy, Democrat, Inver Grove Heights. Remember, this is the first week of the legislature. They're throwing stuff out there just to see what sticks.
We got money to spend.
Absolutely. Mary Clardy, a Democrat from Inver Grove Heights, has put forward legislation to give $400,000 to a program called Before Racism. And this would this would supposedly help kids as young as 1 from developing bias. No good can come of that. No good can come of that, because basically what that means is it's more hectoring of white people and telling them they suffer from the original sin of being white.
Can you give me her name again?
Her name is Mary Clardy, Clardy. And she wants this to be in preschools, child care centers, and early learning facilities to prevent the development of racial bias.
See, once again, I'll trot it out. The kids don't have that kind of bias.
No,
it's the
don't.
adults. It's the adults that do, and they learn it from the adults. If you leave kids alone, they'll all get along with each other. And if they don't get along, it won't be based on their color, their ethnicity, or any other damn thing like that.
Okay, stay with it, Joe. Stay with it.
hang
When
tight.
you're on a roll, you're on a roll. Garage Logic speaking to the nation. Let's go to the state of Washington. And we learn that a diversity, equity, and inclusion training hit a roadblock after forcing firefighters in King County to choose between their deeply held beliefs and mandated certification. The program criticized for its contentious nature, aimed at educating 3,500 King County firefighters and medics on anti-racism and gender inclusivity, drawing on teachings from Dr. Ibram X. Kendi, Brene Brown, and Victor Madragal, Borlow's. I know who Kendi is. I don't know who the other two are. The initiative was a response to a state directive requiring implicit bias and healthcare disparity training for healthcare workers. Critics, including several King County firefighters, challenged the training's political undertones and its potential infringement on personal beliefs, particularly regarding gender identity. The training's failure could jeopardize participants' EMT certifications, demanding acknowledgement of endless genders and an inherent racial bias among white staff.
Huh.
So here's a firefighter. All he wants to do is put out your fire. He doesn't care what color you are or what gender you are. He's going to show up with a fire truck and put out the fire. But that's not good enough for the state. The state must force you to bend to the ideology. A great reckoning is coming.
I'm on the website for Before Racism.
The training is called Stronger Together, an introduction to anti-racism and gender inclusion, aimed to instill empathy, awareness, and dignity in patient care, yet its execution ignited pushback. It suggested white staff members inherently harbor racist or sexist views and had caused racial harm at some point.
Mm-hmm.
They were even told they cannot be not racist.
We don't know that.
Brooke, you're white.
Yep.
Have you caused racial harm in your life that you're aware of?
I'm trying to think. Not that I'm aware of, but maybe by mistake I have.
I don't even think by mistake you have.
I really have not.
It is important for people. The training warns some staff may feel denial or shame for the racial harm they caused. It's talking specifically to white people. A great reckoning's coming, people. This can't continue. This is not a sustainable way to have a society.
Joe, how do they account for biracial couples where the guy is white, the gal is black, vice versa, whatever? How do they account for those?
I have no idea. I have no idea. It's important for white people to understand the distinction between being publicly shamed for a racist act versus feeling internalized shame while being held accountable for racism. That's what one of the slides says. They get a slideshow, and they get slides and quizzes, and they get videos. And based on Kendi's work, he's a fraud. The video training for anti-racism isn't especially deep or complex. It explained that racism is substantiated by racist ideas. The training tells staff they should promote anti-racism, defined as ideas and policies that produce and sustain racial equity among racial groups. White staffers are supposed to hold themselves accountable for being racist. They're told to read, watch TV shows, and listen to podcasts by people of color as a way to broaden their views. Non-white staff are not offered any meaningful suggestions because the worldview expressed in the training depicts them as victims of oppression.
And what will this do? Seriously, what will this do? This will only be another nail in the coffin of anyone that was wanting to be a firefighter.
Just creates more division.
Yep.
You can't have a functioning society with this. How do I turn this on?
There you go.
We can't continue to lead these divergent paths. Nope. It can't happen. What do you want, Reavers?